So what I wanted to share with you today was a little bit of a dynamic back sequence that is usually traditionally on a reformer, but you can take this to your home utilizing a chair against a wall or a really stable piece of furniture that's not going to move if you push against it. This is like a variation of your downward dog, upward dog, back extension and flexion. But we're going to look at it more in a standing position, just so that you can really understand the dynamics of going from flexion and extension, utilizing the T-zone. And it also is a really lovely stretch when you move dynamically through it. So for this, get yourself a chair. Make sure that it's not a folding chair. I'm using a dining room chair, it's really stable. I've positioned the front edge of my chair against a wall, and this wall is going nowhere. If I push against it, I'm not going to push, I cannot lean, cannot make it move. And equally, as I push the chair against it, it's not going to move. Really important. Number two, make sure you've got a stable surface under your feet. I'm wearing socks, which is probably not the best surface for this. You want to make sure you're not going to slip about. So bare feet, or put your Pilates mat down so that you've got a nice surface that you're really comfortable on, and the feet have traction, they're not going to move. You're going to start upright, standing at the back of your chair. Now your fingers and your palms are resting on the back of the chair, and you're going to walk your feet away. Possibly 3 or 4 paces so that you come into this diagonal position. Those of you that have ankle issues or mobility issues through the ankle, and you can't stand in this slanted position with your heels touching the ground, bend your knees. Just allow the heels to float off. Now in this position, you're going to be utilizing hip hinge. So you're bending at the belt line. I'm going to show you the variation with bent knees first. And for those of you that can perform this in straight-legged, obviously straight-legged is a progression. So, standing in this position with the feet away from the back of the chair, so your arms are straight, 3, 4, 5 paces. Have a little play and see where the feet placement feel best. Your feet are still hip width, knees are soft. Now in this alignment, you'll notice my hip, my shoulder, my ear is in that lovely straight line. And if I switch on the T-zone, I'm able to draw the tailbone softly down, utilizing that nice flattening of those abdominals. Shoulder blades equally are not up in your earlobes in this position, and you're looking forwards with a neck softly floating over that rib cage and the head floating on top. From this position, you're going to start to hinge your hips back. Now, as you push your hips back, you may find your heels come back to the ground. Keep the tailbone drawn down, keep the abdominals flat, so you'll remain in neutral spine. And as you drive the hip back, think about folding at your belt line, coming into this hip hinge. Now, as you press your arms down and forwards into the back of your chair, you're going to start to get a lovely upper back stretch through the lats. You can drop your ears between your arms and allow yourself to come into a lovely variation of your downward dog. From this position, try to not let the tailbone tilt up and arch through the lower back. Allow the head to be relaxed on the neck. Take a lovely soft breath in. Utilizing a deep scoop of your abdominals, you're going to exhale, push through your heels, scoop through the tummy, round the upper back towards the ceiling. Imagine that you're really coming into that rounded back position like you do in rolling up and down. If you can keep your heels on the ground, some of you will need to lift them, but I'm going to start to allow my weight to come forwards as I lift the spine upright once more into that lovely diagonal position, pushing my weight forwards and down into the chair through the arms and the shoulders. Again, you could have bent knees in this position, and that would mean that your heels are flowing. I'll demonstrate that again. I'm actually going to move my heels a little bit further back. If you've got really strong mobility through your upper back, you'll find that you'll need to modify and take the heels a little bit further away. Now I'll show you with straight legs this variation. Keeping the heels pressed down, that's a strong ankle mobility. You first want to come into this lovely neutral spine position, shoulders back and down. Think about switching on the T-zone and look directly ahead. Keep that neck nice and soft. Now we're going to start to push the hips back, coming into hip hinge, folding at that belt line, driving the arms straight, forwards and down into the back of the chair as you come into this lovely variation of your down dog. Drop your ears between your arms Allow your head to just rest down and get a lovely deep upper back thoracic stretch, getting those lats really, really well stretched here. Keeping the heels down, take a deep breath in, scoop through the tummy to roll the shoulders and the upper back towards the ceiling. Keep the chin tucked to chest, push through the heels, round the back, start to stack the vertebrae, shoulders will float down as you lift your head and look directly ahead. Good. Let's do one more of those. Again, have the bent knee variation if you need. Take a deep breath in and on the exhale, push the hips back. Hinge forwards through the belt line, keep a bent knee if you need. You'll find your heels can rest down and you can drop your ears between your arms. The further down you allow the upper back extension to take place, you'll notice your head will disappear between your arms. Shoulders want to remain down from the ears. Don't create tension across that neck. Take a deep breath in. If you can, keeping the legs straight, you can get a deeper stretch through hamstrings as well. Push your heels down, scoot that tummy out. Chin tucks to chest, exhale, start to round the upper back towards the ceiling. Now as you round the upper back, really think about scooping the tummy in. Push those arms forwards and down into the chair as you start to round and stack the vertebrae upright, coming into that lovely up dog position. Good. So that's the first portion of your stretch, utilising the chair. Now to go into a back extension position, I'm going to remove my socks. You're going to be moving from that downward dog into up dog. Now the up dog positioning is where I want you to take really small movements and be really cautious of what's happening through your lower back. It's very much like your swan prep extension. However, you are in an upwards position, so you're more than likely going to allow your pelvis to tilt and go into that lumbar extension, which I don't really want you to focus on that. Where you felt that lovely stretch when you were in this lovely down dog, I want you to focus on that positioning, the mid-deep center back, getting that lovely back extension. So as I roll through my down dog and I come into this straight position, I'm now going to allow my upper back to arch, coming into a little bit of back extension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my shoulder blades down as I allow my sternum to be pulled gently forwards and up towards the back of the chair. Notice that I do have back extension, but I'm not in lumbar extension. I want to keep the tailbone drawn down and I utilise a little squeeze of my glutes for this here to come into this lovely back extension. And then I can come back into hip hinge, moving through neutral spine. Good. For those of you that want to make this bigger, first start with that lovely little expression of your swan prep upper back extension here. If you want to make it bigger, the full movement is you utilising a bend in the elbows to bring the chest towards the back of the chair. Now notice that I come into a small rounding of my lumbar spine. I've still got my heels down because I've got quite strong ankle mobility. Those of you that want bent knees will find that you still need to draw the tailbone down, and that can be quite hard in that bent knee position. So go slowly through this one. So again, I'll show you. You move from your down dog position, which is this one, which would look like this if we were on the mat. You know this one very well. This positioning is a little bit gentler on your ankles. It's a little bit gentler on your shoulders, so this might suit you better. Now I'm keeping straight legs for this, but bend the knees if you need to. Push through the heels again, chin to chest. I'm rounding as I scoop, exhale, rolling the spine to come into this position, which would be on the carriage of the reformer. I would be coming back in. From this position, I'm now going to bend at the elbows, drawing them towards my side, shoulders down as I allow my upper back to round, my sternum being pulled gently forwards and up. It's really strong on your ankles and your calves. I'm getting a good calf stretch too, as well as the upper back. I'm not lifting the chin, I'm not closing that angle of my neck. I'm allowing the head to be free and look forwards. Then as I slowly undo that here, the buttocks moves back. It's not the tailbone lifting and rounding the upper back. No, it's actually here in this neutral spine, and I get the upper back stretch before moving into upper back extension. It can be done in this positioning with the feet closer to the back of the chair if you want to be a little bit more safer, and then your downward dog would be a little bit more modified too, and you'd have bent knees more in a squat position rather than a hip hinge, okay? So you can do that little back extension here too with bent elbows, if that feels a little bit more easier on your shoulder girdle on your back. And that could be another modification that you take with the feet and the knees closer to the back of the chair and coming into a more of a squat pattern rather than a hip hinge, okay? Lovely. Let me know how you go, and if you like this, I can show you a few more variations from traditional reformer exercises. Have a good week, guys. Bye.